Hello, everyone, and welcome to Schwab Coaching. My name is Cameron May. I'm a senior manager here at Schwab, and this is Getting Started with thinkorswim. And today is going to be a beginner's guide to downloading and navigating the thinkorswim desktop trading software. If this is your first time using thinkorswim and you need an orientation, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to be answering questions like, where do I find thinkorswim? How do I download it? How do I log in? How do I get around? How do I find the charts, place a trade, find my balances, all those basic elements. So I'm looking forward to today's discussion. Before we can get to that, though, let me first of all say hello to everybody already chatting out there in YouTube. Great to see Speak Truth and Ricebird. Xenophon 0802, right? Let's see, who else is there? Lawrence and everybody else. Eva, thanks for being here. Week after week, we really appreciate your attendance and your contributions to these discussions. If you're here for the very first time, I want to welcome you as well, of course, since we're targeting this discussion specifically to you. And if you are watching on the YouTube archive after the fact, enjoy the presentation, but be aware that you're invited to join us in the live discussions. This webcast series kicks off promptly 3 o'clock Eastern time on Mondays. We'd love to have you here. This one also runs about 20 to 25 minutes. So another heads up is Kevin Horner is going to be hanging out in the chats with us today. He's a peer of mine. He's going to be addressing any questions that I can't get to. Thanks for being there, Kevin. And Kevin and I would like to issue an invitation to you. If you're not following us on X, please do that. It's the best place to connect with your favorite presenters. In between the live streams, you can find Kevin on X at Kevin Horner CS. You can find me there at Cameron May CS. All right, but let's get into it. First thing that we need to do, of course, is to consider the risks associated with trading and investing. The information here is for general informational purposes only. It should not be considered an individualized recommendation or endorsement of any particular security, chart pattern, or investment strategy. The paper money software application is for educational purposes only, and investing involves risks, including the loss of principal. Okay, so let's just set the agenda for this quick video. It is I've already basically outlined it for us. We're going to be talking all about getting oriented with the thinkorswim desktop trading software. So the first thing I want to do, show how to download it. Then we're going to show how to log into it. We're going to talk about how to get around on it, how to find all the basic elements, balances, placing trades, charting, just high-level stuff for someone who's brand new to the software. Okay, so let's go right to the accessing the download. So we can do that right from our Schwab online account. So you just log into your online account. This is just a demonstration account. And the download is found right up here under the Trade tab. We can go right to Trading Platforms. You'll notice it says thinkorswim Desktop. If we click on that, can't miss it from there. There's a great big blue button right here that says Learn How to Enable thinkorswim. Okay? So just click on that, follow the on-screen prompts. And when you're done doing that, you'll wind up with a little icon on your computer's desktop, or you'll find thinkorswim Desktop in your Start menu. But you're looking for an icon that looks like a splash, okay? I'll show you what that looks like. When you first go to log in, you're going to look for an icon that looks very much like this, the thinkorswim logo icon right here, okay? So you'll click on that, and then it's going to prompt you for a username and password. Give me just a moment here. Let me clear that out of the way. I think we're in good shape. Anyway, it's going to prompt you for a username and password, and this is where you hit the panic button. You say, oh no, I don't have a Schwab or a thinkorswim username and password. Yes, you do. You just use your Schwab login credentials. Now, as you're logging in, though, before we submit those credentials, you want to make a note down here at the bottom. It's prompting, well, do you want to log into your live trading, which will provide access to your live account balances and a whole slate of tools and resources to support the management of those? Or do you want access to the same slate of tools and resources, but in a paper money practice trading environment? Right down here, this is one of the big features of thinkorswim, is that we can practice with trading tools and with techniques using paper money. So live trading here, paper money there, but just click on one and log in as normal, and that'll get you into the platform. So now we find ourselves inside thinkorswim. Okay, so this is the trading software. And the first time I introduce somebody to thinkorswim, they always have some basic questions for me. All right, I want to know how to download it. I want to know how to log in. Now that I've logged in, how do I find the quote unquote the important stuff? Where are my balances? How can I check on my positions? How can I find some charts? How do I place trades? That basic stuff. And obviously, the available tools go way deeper than that. But let's talk about, first of all, the basic general navigation. So when we're logged into thinkorswim, the navigation is really accomplished using the tabs over here, or the column over here to the left, or the tabs up across the top, okay? This column over here to the left, we'll give it a little bit more attention in a moment, but it's called gadgets, and this is a place where we can park some tools that we want quick access to at any time. So this is the main area of the software. Over here is sort of some sidebar information that we might want to just have quick access to, single click access. It can either be there or we can just hide that left column using the little toggle in between the two main display areas of the platform. So those are the gadgets. And then across the top, we have a couple of rows of tabs. So take some time and look through those rows. One of the tabs up here at the top to address an initial quick question is, how do I find my accounts? That's found right here using this tab, where we can access all of our accounts, or we can access each household account individually. So for example, I have an example IRA account, I have an example margin account. Let's just go right to the IRA, okay? And you can also find support, chat rooms here, but let's acquaint ourselves quickly with this row of tabs, starting with the monitor tab and proceeding left to right. These are really all the tools that are available within the platform. So we have the monitor tab, which I think is an appropriate term. This is where we monitor existing orders and positions. You can see here's today's trade activity and a bunch of positions down here. We'll come back to that. But as we hover over each subsequent tab, you notice we get these drop-down menus. And these will describe for us basically what's going to be found under that tab. So under the trade tab, we can trade all sorts of different products. The demonstration that I'll be placing today is a stock trade. We can go to the Analyze tab, which is going to be primarily more for our options traders in the audience, initially, or at least the first two tools here. But we can also find fundamental tools, which is really an examination of the company behind a stock. We can find an earnings calendar, economic calendar and data. The scan function is where we would go tell the system if let's say we would like to search for stocks exhibiting specific characteristics that are appealing to a trader. We might use a scan or search, filter, screen. Those are sort of interchangeable terms, but we could use something like our stock hacker, right? This is where scans are conducted. The MarketWatch tool allows us to look at things like calendar of events, check on sectors through what we call our visualize tool. We can set alerts for different purposes, or we can set up a quotes display, monitoring a series of stock symbols with all sorts of different criteria and metrics that can be followed all on one screen. But here's probably the one that we're going to spend the bulk of our time today. Yep, we're going to be looking at charts. And then beyond that, we have additional tools you might want to explore, education resources, and help if we just want to call somebody or chat with somebody about how to use thinkorswim, okay? One thing I do want to point out here just very quickly under the education tab, because our video here is only going to be 20 or 25 minutes, if you'd like to continue to learn about thinkorswim on your own, go to this learning center. The education area is more for broad market learning trading strategies, for example. The learning center is specific to thinkorswim. So if I go to that learning center, one thing that I would direct your attention to is something called the Think Manual. If you've ever wondered, isn't there a user guide for thinkorswim? Yep, that's it right there. And you can also search through that guide for specific topics. Let's say you're trying to learn the Analyze tab. You can do a keyword search, and this will bring up very much like, let's say, a search engine. It will bring up related resources to whatever that keyword is that you're interested in. Okay, but let's get, now that we've gotten the general navigation dialed in, and John says, can you have the simulated trading and live trading both open simultaneously, each under its own tab? Yes, you can, John. Yep, you can log into thinkorswim. And then as a matter of fact, all you have to do is come down here, right-click. This is a quick way to do it. Right-click on your thinkorswim icon down at the bottom, and it'll relaunch your login, and you just choose the other one. Go ahead and log in. Just as a navigational tip, I'll typically theme them differently. I'll have the light background on the one, the dark background on the other one, and that way I can tell them the difference between them very quickly, okay? That, and this is a quick sidebar, but I think it's okay. Up here, we go to application settings under this gear, because there is that some people like a different look and feel to the platform. Some prefer light, some prefer dark. They want it to look like that. Yeah, but when I'm using both, I'll typically have light on one, dark on the other. No doubt in my mind which one I'm using. But of course, if we're in the simulated environment, it'll also tell us all over the place, this is simulated. Okay? You like that tip? Will, you didn't know that one either? Okay, very good. Well, let's get ourselves acquainted with the basic functionality here. All the time I get these questions: how do I check on my positions? How do I find the charts, and how do I place trades? Okay, let's go to the monitor tab. And this is, again, like I mentioned, this is where we might monitor the progress of existing positions and also the progress of any orders that we've placed. So for example, right down here in this area, we'll see today's trade activity. These are transactions that just happened today, or we placed them previously, but they haven't filled yet. They're still like an open order, hasn't filled yet. Down below that is the area that shows us our current positions. So up in today's trade activity, you can see in this example portfolio, I have 4 orders. And these are really basically sell orders attached to positions down here. These are, like stop orders, those sorts of things. You can see over here, here's some limit orders. There's some stop orders. They haven't filled yet, so they're being displayed here. And it's telling me when I place those orders. It's telling me where I place the orders as far as the stock price is concerned, that sort of thing. And below that, we can see any orders that filled today. So just as an example, I placed a quick order before I launched this webcast, bought 10 shares of Eli Lilly. So I can see the details of that trade. That was just a few moments ago, paid $918.98, and that's now a position down here, and we'll see how that goes, okay? And below that, I can see any orders that I've placed but were canceled. So there's an early order to buy some shares of Eli Lilly, and I had that as a limit order at $900. It was trading around $918, so I canceled that and replaced it with the other order. So right down here, this is going to be fun stuff. This is where somebody just wants to check on their existing positions. How are they doing? What do I own, and how's it trading? Am I up or am I down? So here we can see the symbols for what we own. I've added a column. Each of these column headings, well, a lot of them are customizable. But by default, we're going to be seeing things like the quantity of shares that we own. I've added a column to show which sector each stock is in. I can see our trade price for our shares. The mark is the current market price of the shares. So if I have a trade price of $17 and the market price is $21.44, I know very quickly I'm up about $4 and change on that. But over here are going to be a couple of other columns of probably key interest for lots of people. What's the profit or loss on an existing position since I placed it? And how much am I up or down today? Profit or loss since I opened, or profit or loss for the day. And then finally, if we're trading in a margin account, we have a column called the BP, the buying power effect, which is the impact on the margin buying power and how much essentially margin is tied up in each individual trade. Okay? This is an IRA, so that's not populating. All right, so that's where we go to check on existing positions. How about we talk about just basic charting and maybe add a position? So let's go over here to our charts tab. And if we don't already have a symbol here, we just have a blank chart. We can type in the symbol if we know the symbol for the company that we intend to examine, or we can just start to type in the name. Let's say we wanted to look at Tesla, okay? So actually, let me just populate it here with the symbol here. There's Tesla. Let me check one other thing here. Yeah, there we go. Every once in a while when I'm running a stream, it can kind of put a bandwidth drain on my system, cause a little bit of slowness. This is what I was looking for. We type in the name, we don't know the symbol. The system will retrieve a list of potential symbols as options. Yep, and there's our Tesla. So I can just choose that, and then we're looking at TSLA. In any case, let's say that our technical trader just wants to know the basics of getting around on the chart. Well, as soon as we enter that symbol, we're getting some information about the company. There's the current price, how much it's up or down. We can share a chart with a friend by clicking on this and generating a link that can be sent. We can add technical studies or tools using this icon right here. We can change general chart settings, such as appearance and whether the, let's say, earnings and things like that are displayed. But one that I wanted to show today was just changing time frame. This little D here stands for the, as a matter of fact, let's do two things. Let me add a technical indicator. If I click on the little flask icon, that's our Edit Studies icon. Sometimes technical indicators are also called studies. And let's say we want to add a simple moving average to our chart. Well, I could go just in alphabetical order through the hundreds of technical indicators that might be added, or I can just type in as a keyword search, start to type in the name. So let's add a simple moving average, add that to our chart. By default here, thinkorswim is going to add a pretty short moving average, just 9 trading days. Click apply and click OK. But what that does here for this example study is it's added this line moving up and down through the chart, which among other things might indicate to a trader short-term trends. Okay, so that's one possible indicator, but you saw that there are hundreds. We also might want to change our time frame. The default right now shows D for day. I can switch my time frame by clicking on this and just choosing from the menu of default time frames, or I could set up a custom time frame using these. Let's go to our favorites. Let's say I switch this to a 5-year weekly chart. Just gives us a different view, a longer term view of Tesla. Or I'll switch that back to a 1-year chart. And let's also just quickly show how to add a drawing to the chart. Let's suppose that our trader is interested in concepts like price floors and price ceilings, support and resistance levels. So I'm going to come to our drawings, and we can just go to our drawing tools in the menu and choose, could draw an oval or rectangle or a channel. Let's just choose our trend line tool. And to draw on thinkorswim charts, we just start the line. Anywhere we want to draw a line or any drawing, we just click once to start it, move our cursor over, and click again to end that line. So let's say we're satisfied with that right there. Maybe our trader has looked at this and they noted over the last several months, there's been a price floor around that 234 level. And that has since been a ceiling, and we finally pushed up and through in the last few days. All right, but those are some of the very basic functions of charting on thinkorswim. A lot more depth here. We don't have time to explore everything, but I wanted to hit on some of the key elements. So now let's go place a trade, okay? One thing I want to point out as we place this trade is up here in the upper left. This addresses the question, and this is just in that left column that I've shown you called the gadgets column. This is where the trader would look to see, well, how much is my account worth and how much cash do I have? So we are right now, as I showed you earlier, we're just within the IRA account. Well, within just the IRA, the account has a total value. It's abbreviated to net lick and day trades, but net liquidating value, a total value of about $275,000. And included in that is about $173,000 of cash. Okay? So can we afford within this portfolio a few shares of Tesla, even at 249 bucks? Probably, right? So let's go place a trade. So if you're a first-time user of thinkorswim, placing the first trade can be a little bit nerve-wracking. Doesn't necessarily have to be, right? To place a trade on thinkorswim, we just go to the Trade tab, make sure that we've entered our symbol here, and we were going to use Tesla as our example there. And then to place a trade, you'll notice there's not a big green buy button or a big red sell button. Instead, we'll look for the words bid and ask right here. And as we point at that, I know it requires some serious squinting, but just below as I point at the number just below the word ask, there's a little word buy that appears next to my cursor. As I point at the bid, the little word sell appears. I know it's tiny miniature, it's okay. But what this is indicating to us is that if we just click on one of these, we can create a buy order by clicking on the ask price, and there's a buy order. Or if we were to click on the bid price, it creates a sell order. So let's go back up again, click on the ask price. SJS, there are all sorts. Yeah, SJS is chatting in and saying we could also trade directly from the chart. Very true. Yep. Believe me, I'm tempted to show 11 different ways to do everything because thinkorswim can do it. I know 11's just a random number. but just as sort of an exaggeration. But in any case, yeah, lots of different ways that this could be done. I'm just going to show it this way. So by clicking on the ask price, and let's hide our left column for now, you'll see that a default order for 100 shares of Tesla is ready to go. Now we can tailor this. We could change this from a buy order to a sell order. We can change each of these fields, but for right now, this is just what I wanted to demonstrate, how quickly, click on the ask price, we have a complete buy order ready to go as long as it looks like what we want to do. But one modification I'm going to make here is let's change this from a limit order to a market order, okay? Change that to a market order. This is where the trader is saying, hey, I'll just pay whatever the market requires to buy these shares right now. Now, $249 stock, do I want to spend $24,900 on this trade? How about we just cut that down to 10 shares? So we can just erase the number of shares there, modify it. But let's click confirm and send. We've not pulled the trigger on this yet. All that we've done is we've queued up an order. As long as we haven't clicked send, we're not committed to anything. And in any case, this is a simulation, not a real trade, okay? But we're buying 10 shares of Tesla at the market price, not a commission on this trade, but there can be on some types of trades. And with market orders, prices can change quickly in fast market conditions, resulting in execution prices that can be different from the quotes displayed at order entry. So we're not guaranteed that we're going to pay exactly $249.58. So that market order could be different. But let's click send. Bought $249. Well, we just bought 10 shares of Tesla at $249.58. So where do I go to keep an eye on how I'm doing with those 10 shares? Well, we can go right back to the monitor tab. There we go. Right down here, let's find it. There it is, our Tesla position. 10 shares, there's our purchase price. That's where it's trading. We're at break even. So we'll see how that goes. But guys, in just 22 minutes, we've learned how to download thinkorswim, how to log in, how to navigate, how to use some of the chart functionality, the trade functionality, the monitor tab functionality. There's a lot more to learn though, so I do have a recommendation for where to move next. I've actually created a series of lessons for first-time users of thinkorswim, and you can find those if we go to our YouTube channel, Trader Talks Schwab Coaching Webcast. So always make sure that you've subscribed to our Trader Talks channel. You can click on the subscribe button right down below the display window right now. But our playlists contain previously delivered webcasts, and included in those, and they're organized by topic and by series, but I created the whole series down below. So just scroll to the bottom. It's actually the very bottom. Getting started with thinkorswim. Let's look at that whole full playlist. And if I scroll to the bottom of that playlist, look at this. Downloading and navigating thinkorswim, using the thinkorswim monitor tab, look for the ones that are titled Lesson 2, Lesson 3, Lesson 4, using the trade tab, using thinkorswim charts, and so on. So this was a high-level introduction to the platform, but much more detailed examination of the individual tools and capabilities of the platform right there, always taught at that beginner level. Okay. All right, I do have one other recommendation for you. If you're not following Kevin and me on X, please do that. That's a fabulous resource. Best place to connect with us in between these live streams. You can find Kevin on X at Kevin Horner CS. You can find me here at Cameron May CS. I'd love to have you there as a follower. You could even give me your input on, let's say, for example, what is this thing happening on Meta? 17 people have offered their opinion. Let's see if yours differs. All right. Everybody, time for me to let you go. We've accomplished what I set out to do today. We just wanted to do some downloading basic navigation of thinkorswim for first-time users. We've done that. Thank you to, how many of you have already clicked on the like button out of the 100 or so people watching? 19, not bad. I always appreciate if you enjoy the webcasts, make sure that you're clicking that like button every time before we wrap up. It just lets the presenter know that you've enjoyed the webcast, but it also helps that webcast in the YouTube algorithm find a broader audience, okay? SJS, you're welcome. Lawrence, John, Eva, thanks for watching. Ricebird, you're very welcome. Kevin, thanks for helping out in the chats. Everybody, we'll do this again next Monday. We'll reconvene, talk about some other features of thinkorswim. But I hope you enjoyed today's presentation. I will look for you in a future webcast. I'll also look for you on X. But whenever I see you again, until that moment arrives, I want to wish you the very best of luck. Happy trading. Bye-bye.